The state of Nevada wants to ban landlords from being able to reject Section 8 tenants in a move that landlords say will prevent them from screening tenants based on stable income and job history. I'm Tony, and this is Real Estate Investing and Landlord News. All right, so I have another interesting topic for you today, and it's going over the fact that in the state of Nevada, they want to ban landlords from being able to reject Section 8 tenants. Okay, this is the same story that is repeating over and over again throughout the entire country, and it shouldn't surprise you if you see this sort of proposal coming to an area near you. Obviously, Nevada is, a much more conservative place, but it's becoming more and more progressive as all those Californians exit. They're bringing their crappy laws and their crappy way of doing things with them. The reason that people had to leave California was because it's unaffordable. It's unaffordable because they passed all of these laws, all of these rules, and all of these regulations on those who build housing and provide housing. So, guess what's going to happen? They're going to make it impossible to build. They're going to make it impossible to be a landlord. And then the few places that remain are going to be sky high expensive. And if this is what they think is going to work, I mean, they're just dumb. They're just dumb. And this proposal that we're seeing for, forcing landlords to accept Section 8 tenants in a program that, mind you, the federal government said is voluntary. Well, I don't agree with it. I don't agree with it at all. So before I get into the article, go ahead, hit the like and subscribe button. Maybe leave a comment down below and let me know what you think. What do you think of a state or a city or a municipality forcing landlords to accept Section 8? Okay? Keep in mind that when we're doing our tenant screening, we're looking at their job history, if that's stable. We're looking at their income, if that's stable. And I don't believe that Section 8 is stable in a lot of cases. Okay. And they say, oh, it's source of income discrimination. Source of income discrimination. Well, we are saying that, we have to screen in a certain way in order to get the best tenant possible for our units. There should be nothing wrong with that. And you know what? There are landlords out there who specialize in Section 8 and they want to put Section 8 tenants in their units because they make a lot of money doing it. But a lot of landlords aren't like that. They don't want Section 8. They don't want those people in their units. They don't want to have to deal with the government. And they have a right to do that until states like this step in. So anyway, let me get into this article. This is coming from the NevadaIndependent.com, and it says bill could prohibit landlords from refusing to rent to tenants using housing vouchers. Yeah, and they're going to explain more of what this bill says and their reasoning behind it, and hopefully, I'll be able to tear that apart easily. So, with rents high, pandemic assistance drying up, and officials pointing people to government housing vouchers, lawmakers want to prohibit landlords from discriminating against potential tenants on the basis of income, providing that income is legal. AB 176, sponsored by Assemblywoman Cecilia Gonzalez and co sponsored by other Democrats, will protect tenants looking to pay rent with government assistance, such as the Department of Housing and Urban Development's Housing Choice Voucher Program, also known as Section 8, and child support payments. We've received complaints over and over about applications being denied because an individual has a Section 8 voucher or because they have a child support order, and that's not viewed as being sustainable enough, ACLU of Nevada Executive Director Athar Hasbullah said during Monday's hearing. And I don't think that this is something that has to do with child support. I really don't. Okay. I think that the main focus of all of this is Section 8. And they're throwing child support in there as well because, that garners sympathy when you think, oh, well, think of these children whose, mothers are, that's probably the people who are getting child support are not the ones who this law is being written for. It is for the people who are under, who have those Section 8 housing choice vouchers. And a lot of landlords just turn them down. They just completely don't want to deal with it. And I can't really blame them. Okay. The program, it's a bureaucratic mess in a lot of places, including where I invest. So I can't blame a landlord for not wanting to deal with it. Now, is there good money to be made? Yes, but you have to sweeten the pot. Okay, you have to make it so that we want to rent to people who have Section 8 more than a regular person off the street. And in 90% of cases, that's just not true. Okay, 90% of cases, even if the Section 8 tenant wants to come up with the exact amount of rent, I don't want to rent to that person because you're going to have more problems with Section 8 and you have more hoops to jump through with Section 8. Whereas with the person who is not on Section 8, just the regular tenant, that person could be in my unit within a week. Okay. Week after signing the lease. There's no inspections involved. There's no hoops to jump through. There's no government bureaucracy. There's no waiting 6 weeks to get my first check. No, none of that nonsense. Okay. I got my check. I got the tenant in there. Everything is good within a week. That's how easy it is as compared to working with the government. So, anyway, let's continue. Representatives from the Nevada State Apartment Association and Nevada Realtors testified in opposition, saying they worried that the bill would limit landlords' ability to screen tenants based on stable income and job history, a process they said prevents evictions. Assemblyman Toby Urick agreed, refusing rent on the basis of steady government assistance, such as a housing voucher, would be purely based on stigma, but raised concerns about landlords accepting other sources of income that may be less reliable. I know that there are a lot of, I'll use fathers, but it could be mothers as well, that don't pay their child support obligations, York said. It would seem to me that it would be appropriate to take all of that in consideration when calculating the risk for a potential tenant. Yeah, and he brings up a good point, right? The law is overly broad, and using any legal source of income, even ones that are not stable, to be able to qualify is illogical. So, a landlord should be able to look at the totality of the circumstances and then make a wise business decision based on everything they see on their own. They shouldn't have the government telling you, well, you have to accept this, you have to take this payment. Because, like I can give you an example of a person who didn't have a steady source of income who applied for one of my houses, right? And it was a person who worked as a contractor. And nothing against contractors. There's a lot of really, really good ones and they have good incomes, right? But the income source is not stable. Okay. When the winter months hit, all of a sudden that contractor isn't getting paid anything. So where is my rent money coming from come the winter months? Hopefully the contractor had saved up enough money throughout the good weather seasons in order to cover their butts, but there's no guarantee of that. And I've also had business owner who had just opened their business and you're like, well, your income isn't stable for any long period of time. They're like, oh yeah, but I'm on pace to make 6 figures this year. And I'm like, well, after you make 6 figures for a year, come back to me and maybe I'll, maybe more than a year, maybe like a couple of years, making 6 figures and come back to me. And then maybe you'll be able to rent one of my places. But right now, I just can't take that risk. I don't want to have to go through the eviction process. I don't want to have to miss a whole bunch of rent payments because things didn't work out for you. I'm going to take it the safest way possible by choosing the best quality tenant that I can for each one of my units.